This panel was selected today. About 2 years ago, there was a quick pitch that was given at the Rural Futures Conference in Lincoln, Nebraska. That quick pitch was helping people understand that they could develop partnerships with the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture, that we could partner with high schools and small rural communities throughout the state to offer educational programs and to partnership with businesses. So these individuals are here today because of that vision that was laid out a couple years ago in Lincoln, Nebraska. And it was part of the Rural Futures Conference, so it's kind of almost come full swing at this point in time. So I'd like to just tell you a little about each of our panel members up here. So Dean Tickle, he's the first one here to my left, is a fourth year as a superintendent at Elm Creek Public Schools. He's a native of Ogallala, Nebraska, and graduated from Ogallala High School. He graduated from the University of Nebraska-Kearney with a BS, MA, and Ed Specialist degrees. He has been in pre-K-12 education for 27 years. Mr. Tickle has taught English and social science at the Boys Ranch in Texas and in Nebraska at the Logan View Public Schools in Hooper, Culbertson Public Schools, and Lexington Public Schools. While in Lexington, he also served as assistant principal, activities director, and Lexington High School for 2 years, and principal of the Lexington Middle School for 12 years. In 2015, Elm Creek Schools launched a first-year agriculture program and a new FFA chapter, and is a proud partner with the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture in offering multiple educational opportunities for its high school students. So Dean, thanks for being here. We appreciate your insight and just things you'll share with us today. Next sitting to Dean is Dustin Favinger. In 1995, graduated from Cozad High School, who returned to his alma mater in 2006 to serve as the 912 school counselor and new program developer. He earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Secondary Science Education from the University of Wyoming in 2000, his Master's of Arts in Education from Chadron State College in K-12 school counseling. He is currently finishing up a Master's of Arts in School Administration from Chadron State College. Mr. Favinger is a proud father of two and a passionate educator who believes in finding new ways to reach groups of diverse learners. He is an avid outdoorsman, runner, and lifelong thinker. Dustin, we thank you for being here and look forward to hearing your vision. Cindy Burton has served as an educator and school counselor for Southwest Nebraska for the past 19 years. Mrs. Burton has earned her undergraduate degree in education from Fort Hays State University and her master's degree in school counseling from the University of Nebraska-Kearney. During this time, she has become passionate about providing quality education and opportunities for the youth in rural Nebraska. She works with students in planning for their future and guiding them to explore the ever-changing opportunities that are available. Agriculture is a driving force in southwest Nebraska. Mrs. Burton sees Cambridge Public Schools' involvement with NCTA as an opportunity to provide a college readiness program to the students of Cambridge that will not only prepare them for the futures, but additionally encourage them to return to the community with the skills needed to continue their thriving economy. Cindy, we thank you for being here today representing Cambridge. So, to start off our panel, why don't you just take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about your schools, where they're located, kind of the diversity of the school, and just give us a background of kind of your school setting and what it's all about there. Dean?
Well, again, thank you for having me here. I am the proud superintendent of Elm Creek, and our students are sitting right back there listening intently, as they always do when I speak, right? And I do also want to thank our school board president, Denise Areda, for being here as well. But Elm Creek is located 14 miles west of Kearney. We're a town of about 910 folks. Our school has preschool through 12th grade, and we have about 355 students. You know, almost all of our diversity, you know, we're generally an ag community, mostly Anglo. Our mobility rate is high for a smaller school. I would say we're probably around 12-13%. Our enrollment stays pretty steady. It's just not the same 355 kids every year. It changes. But anyway, we have, I think, a pretty innovative and forward-looking school board. And really, when I came to Elm Creek 4 years ago, they sat down and had a goal-setting session. And some of the things that they wanted me to do as a superintendent is to create a culture of respect, to increase our academic rigor, and to increase our use of technology to create and problem solve. And so based on those 3 goals and taking a look at our community and what we needed to do in order to make our kids successful and allow them to be competitive when they leave Elm Creek, everything we do is hooked to agriculture. And so we also took a look around and said, we don't have an ag program. And how can we live and thrive and allow our students to compete in an agricultural economy, in an agricultural society, and not have an agricultural program? And so we went after it. It's not easy these days. There aren't a lot of ag teachers out there, and we got a great one. So we think we're on the right path, and we're excited to partner with NCTA.
Like Dr. Mickelsen said, I am from Cozad. I'd like to give a quick shout out to another Cozad graduate who you're going to have a chance to listen later. We actually grew up across the street from one another, Miss Jenny Fox. So I'm honored to be here today to share a little bit about what we're doing with NCTA. Cozad is a town of about 4,000 people. About 7 or 8 years ago, we lost our largest employer in Tenneco. Plant that employed about 500 people closed its doors, and so some harder economic times have fallen on Cozad. Our school system is made up of about 52% free and reduced lunch students, so we're a lower income school. And so over the past 7 or 8 years, we've really engaged in an effort to increase our innovative thought within our school so that our students are prepared to meet the demands and challenges of the world around them. And like I shared with our students on the way down here, when I graduated high school, the last place I wanted to come back to was where I grew up, because I thought it was the armpit of the world. And as I got older and got to see some of the world, I was able to realize that there were some gifts in small town America and in rural America that didn't exist in large metropolitan areas, and that our impact could be a lot bigger in a smaller community than it would a larger community. And so some of the initiatives that we have in our school are, like Elm Creek, we are adding an agriculture education program. There's been a lot of interest from our stakeholders and community members to do that. There's also been a lot of interest in within our community to increase the college credit and preparedness of our students to go out beyond high school so that they can meet the challenges of the world. We've implemented a one-to-one iPad program, so we're one of the leaders in the state of implementing mobile technology and learning, and we're excited for the opportunities that this partnership with NCTA has given us, and our students don't fully realize the benefit of it yet, but a couple of years from now, as they're going out into the working world and have industry-grade certifications and/or a head start on their college credit, meeting requirements in the university system and beyond, then they will really realize those benefits of this partnership. So thank you for having me here as well.
Hello, I'm Cindy Burton. I'm from Cambridge, which is situated about 20 miles east of McCook. Very similar school setup as the last two gentlemen have spoke about. Demographic-wise, we are very much an agricultural area. However, we do have a hospital right in town, so we have quite a bit of medical interests also, and small businesses. The school has always been with kind of the focus on keeping up with the pace of changes that's happening, not only in academics, but also technology and the changing trends, which will also impact the choices of your careers and things later on. And so our hope is to link all that together. And so we were thrilled when NCTA came in and spoke with us about bringing dual credit courses in so we could start beginning that process for an easier transition across for the students into careers later on.
All right, thank you. You know, it's always important when you're looking at partnerships. You know, we offer the college courses, but we found great high schools to work with. These schools here are here because they're visionary in nature. are looking forward for the benefit of their students. So, you know, as we develop this partnership, and I know we had talks about this as we met with each of you and as we met as a group to kind of lay out what we were going to do, what are some of the advantages for the school? What are the advantages for the students? And what are the opportunities for the students as they graduate from your schools in those rural communities?
Well, Elm Creek, as I said, Kearney's one of our suburbs, and so, you know, 14 miles down the road from us, they're building a brand new Class A high school. It's like a super Walmart coming into a town, and so, you know, one of the questions we ask our faculty and we ask our community is, you know, our kids have choices. Most of our kids have choices. Why would you come to Elm Creek? What is going to make us the school of choice? And the other thing I guess I challenge our faculty is, you know, how do we become world class? How do we become great at what we do? And, you know, there are some things that we're not going to offer that the high school down the road is. We're probably not going to have a symphony. We're probably not going to have a swim team. There, you know, and that's great. But what we do have, what we can leverage is our small school culture, our caring attitude, and our connection to agriculture. And so what we have decided to do, we put the building blocks in place. We too have a one-to-one iPad initiative. We're looking to leverage that and do that well. You know, we're starting out on that. You know, we visit Cozad and take ideas from them. So that collaboration is huge. But we're not going to have a ton of career academies. We're not going to be Grand Island where they turned one of their vacant buildings into a career academy and have hundreds of kids go to school there. So we have to be innovative and we have to do it differently. And one of the ways that we do it differently is reach out for partners and collaborate. And NCTA is that answer for us. And the partnerships with Rinke and the other corporations that are going to come on board are going to be big for our students. Again, we want to compete. We hire folks that are competitive. We want our kids to be competitive and have advantages, and we're going to leverage what Elm Creek has to offer to make you know, our school world class and be the place to be in our area. So again, NCTA is a good partner for us and one that we really covet and the cornerstone of the direction we want to go.
The benefits for Cozad with this partnership with NCTA have allowed us to do more with less. And how many of you, raise your hand if you are all college-bound students? Like, how many of you plan on going to college? Come on, hands up. All right. And so what we recognize, is the fact that a large percentage of our students are going off to college. And we feel we have an obligation or responsibility to them to help them understand the rigors of college coursework before they get there, so there's not a culture shock. We also feel an obligation to help them get a head start on that college education so that it doesn't cost them as much and take them as long to get through college. And NCTA has allowed us to do that. And the third thing that this partnership that we have with NCTA has done is it's allowed us to expand the opportunities for kids. You know, Mr. Tickle talked about the fact that it expands the offerings. You're not able to offer everything that Kearney does. Well, we have to do more with less. You know, we had an economic downturn, and we want to be able to do more and offer more to our students without the burden being passed on to our taxpayers in a way that's not manageable. And so it's allowed us to look at individual students and say, what is it you want to study? And some of those have an interest in agriculture. Some of them have an interest in business. And this partnership with NCTA has allowed us to take those students, connect them with NCTA and the coursework here, and allow them to study what they want to study in a format that has a lot of flexibility to it at a cost that is extremely palatable, to say the least. And it's been a wonderful thing for our students and for our community. And like I said, a lot of our students don't recognize the benefit in that yet in some of our articulated coursework as well. But 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when they get to college and they recognize the fact that, holy moly, I have 9 credit hours of college credit already that really didn't cost me anything. And I have I've almost gotten a semester or half a semester's worth of coursework done. That's going to pay off on the backside, that I'm not having to spend an extra half a year paying tuition or an extra half a year not working in a community. So those are probably the three biggest benefits that this partnership with NCTA has afforded Cozad.
Wow, they covered a lot of it, didn't they? Actually, we agree with everything that's been said here. I see a couple things that I've noticed with ours. We have some students that are not confident about attending college. And so NCTA's dual credit gives the students that are not as confident of thinking that they can achieve college rigor level work, they can find out, yes, I can. I'm doing that now, but I'm doing it in the safety of a familiar setting where there's teachers there to support them if they need it. So that just gives them a boost up that they can go ahead and have the confidence to further their education after graduation. We also see the fact that these students, their confidence is carrying over even in the classrooms now to the younger students, that when they come in, they will be talking to me about, yeah, my brother or sister's taking college classes already. I never thought they could go to college. So the confidence of being able to, without a great expense, and getting that confidence and experience early, it lets them know what college is going to be like before they jump in full time. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You know, one of the things that why these schools are so great to work with is they have some of the same passions that NCTA has. We have a passion for agriculture as part of our mission. It's a statewide mission that we have. These schools have a passion for agriculture. The other thing is that they want to provide learning opportunities and share limited resources. So that's one thing that fits with our mission as well. We want to try to reach as many students as we can and share that message of agriculture with them. The third, and it's definitely not the last thing, but we all have a commitment to students. We want to see students do better. We want to see students learn. We want to see students progress and move forward. And that's very important as we develop these partnerships. You know, we've got probably a few minutes. If anybody has any questions for the panel. Any questions out there? While you're thinking a few questions, I'll say one more thing and then we'll open it up for a few minutes for questions. But, you know, what we're doing with these schools is we're offering courses into the schools that ladder into certificates. So when the students finish high school, if they stay on the track, they can graduate from high school and at the same time graduate with a certificate from the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture. So that helps them be prepared, gain some skills, and it gives them choices. The choices that they have at that time, they can come to NCTA and further on their education and get their associate's degree, but also they'll have the skill base needed to maybe go to work for Ranke, to go to work for one of the ag co-ops in the area. And so we're trying to provide more opportunities for students when they leave the high school. A couple of the certificates that we're working with right now is the diversified certificate. That's the one that's the most flexible and gives the students the most choices. The other one's the irrigation technician certificate in partnership with Ranke Irrigation. And so they're providing some lab and some opportunities in the schools for the students to learn, and we're providing instruction and some lab components from here into the schools. The other one that we're offering courses in, and we'll offer the certificate after it's approved, is Ag Chemical Applicator Certificate. So we're offering certificates where jobs are available in these rural communities. We're very excited about it. But all that would not be possible if we didn't have partners that had some of the same focus and the same intended goals that we have here at the college. So is there a few questions out there? All right, right here.
I come from a small community in southwest Kansas, and I'm really interested in your input on how you tap into local businesses to help as well. I'm a chamber director, and I'm really interested in how can our small community businesses help you as well to help your students.
I've got a good example of that. One of the businesses that we have in Elm Creek is Ag Dryer, and they create grain carts and different things like that. But I don't, you know, letting the businesses in our community know what we had. They found out we have a 3D printer. And so one of the things they approached us with is it cost them about $5,000 to have a part printed out on a 3D printer, mapped out and printed out. And when they found out we had one, we were approached and said, you know, is this something that we could collaborate with your students on? It would save us money and it would give your students a real world experience in manufacturing something for our, one of our ag partners down the road. Sometimes I don't know if we do a good enough job spreading the good news with what we've got going on at the school. We've got an issue in our community too. We lost our restaurant, and that's the heart and soul. I mean, we don't have any place to gather. And so our school, I think, as much as educating kids, can be one of the economic engines in our community as well. So we're like, okay, can the school have a hand in creating, a solution? Can we give them a problem and let them go to work and do something for our community?
One thing that we found successful is to not just go to businesses with our handout asking for donations to pay for the new scoreboard or the new banners we want on our wall. I think far too often schools go to those businesses with an open hand wanting donations. And while that's important for a business to give back to the community and support the schools, what's equally as important is to offer them an opportunity to come into your school and have a voice on what their needs are. And then secondly, to invite them in, because they're the experts in the career field areas. Teachers were trained to be teachers in their content area. And the world today has changed so rapidly that many of the jobs that exist in the world require a knowledge base that teachers don't have. And so one of the things that we have attempted to do is form some partnerships with local businesses through work-study programs, but also speaker programs and kind of some committees that guide us in where we should be going, and it empowers them to have a voice in the school. Like one of them is our hospital, for instance. We did away with our work-study program 7 or 8 years ago because it just wasn't manageable. We had students that were going to Subway to make sandwiches and getting credit for it, and we didn't feel like that was valuable education. You shouldn't be getting high school credit to make a sandwich. And so we did away with it. And Lyle Davis, our hospital administrator, was very adamant about bringing back that work-study component. He says, I have hired a lot of the kids that did work studies here that have come back to our community, and I want to see this back. What can we do to get it back? And by having that open dialogue with him, inviting him in to give us some guidance, we'll say, tell us what you need. We have opened that back up, and it's been a successful partnership, and what's come out of that is our hospital and our hospital foundation now funds our CNA class. They give us a sizable donation every year that allows us to offer CNA certification to our students. In fact, we've got a couple of them here from Cozad that are in that. Katrina, I know you don't like attention drawn to you, so wave at me. I'll have you come up here in a minute and you can speak, because I know you love that. No. But the biggest thing is to just allow them to have a voice. They're the ones that are funding you, and it's important to not just take that money, but to be thankful for it and then offer them something in return, because the benefit on the backside of that is it just improves the education. It makes it more relevant for every one of the students and business people in your community.
I've got one thing to add here. It's kind of not the work study so much, but we do job shadowing. And communication is just huge, but we have a chamber member that actually was a huge part of just coming into the school, being very willing to help with career fairs to get that link between the communities. And then also we have a journalism class that they're allowed to put an article or a column in the paper, and that's just the connection between the school and the community to let them know what's going on. So.
I got one last thing to add, and this is as much for the adults in the room as it is the kids in the room. So most of you are from a small community and going to be leaving, and the long-term viability of the community really rests upon succession planning and your ability to find a partner in your community in the area that you're interested in working in, so that 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road, when you are ready to settle down and raise a family and you're in a line of work, you have a professional connection to come back to and possibly be re-implemented into your community as a business leader. So that's another thing that I'd highly encourage all of the adults in the room as well as the students is to find some business partners, mentors, and engage in some long-term planning and mentoring in the field that you're interested in.